And I think as a leader in your community, so it's like you're a leader to your clients, to like the coaches, and it's like as a leader, people look up to you and they also vibe off you. So if you're there like having a pity party, being a victim, then that energy is just going to transfer down to all those people that are looking up to you. So I feel like, yeah, if you're having more like the positive outlook, you're looking for the silver linings, looking at what you can do, like all of that is going to radiate onto all those coaches, all the people that, like all the clients they have, and it's like that effect's just going to be so much more positive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's a degree of responsibility that like I feel like some people like us will take and thrive on. Like, because there's people that don't have to sit there and be like, I have to be an example for my clients and an example for the community that I expose myself to. But like a high achieving person will take that and they'll use it. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that, again, characteristics of a successful business owner, it's like drawing energy off those situations sometimes is enough. Yeah. It's like, I have to show up for you, for Tam, for my clients. Like, that's enough for me to act and operate in a certain way, and just not like expect everyone to feel sorry for me when shit goes wrong.
Yeah.
I think the willingness and ability to accept responsibility is probably the number one predictor for success. It's like, it's not the gym fault. It's gym's fault. You don't have leads. It's not Kirby's fault. You don't have this. Like, you know what I mean? Or like we spoke in the other podcast, how you were like, client comes in, they haven't done their rehab, like figure it all out, and it's like, well, I haven't created enough buy-in for them to do it.
Yeah.
Which that means your service gets better and your processes get better and all that. You see so many coaches, whether it's in your field or in ours, like that are just like, it's the client's fault. It's like, you're never going to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as well, that comes across to business. So to be the same with the team under you. It's like if you've got a staff member and they're not performing as you'd expect, or they've given like the wrong advice, or and then you have a chat to, essentially like that's your responsibility. So it's like, I obviously haven't taught them something. So it's like, cool, rather than like putting that person down, it's like we're going to actually put that energy into like teaching them and like giving them that skill so that they can be better next time.
Yeah.
I
had that conversation like last week with an STC team member, and they were just like, I'm scared I'm going to fuck this up. Like, you can never get it wrong, because if you get it wrong, it's my fault. The only thing you can get wrong is not trying.
Yeah.
But if you try and get it wrong, it's on me, because I didn't coach you well enough. I didn't support you well enough. You didn't have the framework that was good enough. Like, whatever it is, like that's, and it's so freeing if you are managing a team. Imagine how freeing that is for them to be like, I can never get this wrong.
Yeah.
And if I do, Laura's going to come in and be like, cool, this is what happened, and next time we're going to do it this way, so then it's better.
Yeah.
Fuck, it would be so liberating to be that person in that space, like you said, that looks up to you, and it's like, oh, she's not going to yell at me.
Yeah. And then, you've got their support to move forward and to be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you step into the team thing? It was pretty fast, right?
Yeah. So as I said, we kind of met our expectations. Like the goals I set out for client numbers, we achieved them pretty quickly. So it was pretty quickly I was fully booked, and then realized that to grow the business, I would need to have staff under me. And also as well, just to give clients a good level of service, because obviously if someone has an injury, we were saying on the other podcast, you want them to come in as soon as possible pretty much to get a better outcome. So it's like if someone gets an injury and then they have to wait 2-3 weeks to get in, it's also not in their best interest as well.
Subtle flex. You gotta wait 3 weeks for me.
Both to grow the business and then to give like the clients their best care, or even because it's like you might see someone and then you want to see them in a week but you can't. So it's like,
providing a good environment for the treatment, let alone getting to see you.
That's when I put an ad out to hire staff, and then Ben gave a recommendation of Ali, who ended up becoming our osteo. She was with us for 3 years and just left very sadly.
It's been that long.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was so amazing having her work here, and just seeing the growth she had over the 3 years, like with her confidence, with her skill set, and then now she's doing her own thing, which is very cool. And then we've had a little bit of a transition of staff through the time as well. We've had a couple come and go. Ali was the main one that stayed. And I guess just trying to find the right fit for the team. And then recently we've had Bianca come on. Yeah. So she's been here for a few weeks now and fitting in really well. Yeah, so she was originally my therapist. The
Fancy masseuse. Sorry. Sorry, man. Getting off on the wrong foot here.
Yeah.
Change my mind though. Change my mind.
Jason and Bianca now have beef.
Yeah.
I'm open to
Book
have
yourself
my
in for a
mind
trip,
changed. That's
mate.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she called you a fancy PT.
I am a fancy personal trainer, so I don't take shots at that, Laura.
It's not. It's a compliment.
I am a
I'm
fancy.
bouge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am absolutely.
What would you say the biggest lesson so far, expanding a team?
I think not to rush for the right fit. Like, because I guess I know, like, what I want in a therapist. And I think because we have the niche, it is harder to find somebody who is, like, interested in training and interested in the gym. So, like, I guess previously I'm like, anyone interested in that, cool, they're a candidate.
Yep.
But it's like, I think you have to look a little bit more, like, at their work ethic, and are they willing to be open-minded, are they willing to learn, and so I think not rushing into it's a big thing. And then I think the second thing is as well, like, we were just expressing before about, like, taking ownership for that person. So it's like their skill set is up to me to change.
Yeah.
So rather than so I think, like, taking a little bit more ownership and being a little bit more proactive as they're coming on with some mentorship and kind of getting them up to scratch. And just so we also all have very similar ways of doing things. So it's like when you come into this clinic, you know, like like you're going to get a similar assessment level of care. Like,
The
it's not,
experience.
And obviously each therapist does have, like, different ways they do things, and different, like, even just, like, personality will be different, so it'll be different experience, but essentially we want things to be run, like, pretty similarly.
Yeah. I think looking for characteristics over, like, skills is in some instances better. Like, obviously there's, like, a baseline of skills that you need them to have, but because most of the time they'll possess those.
Yeah.
They've got to get an education to have them.
Yeah.
So, but then it's like those characteristics of, like, communication and, like, how they present themselves, and are they passionate, and all those things that make
Coachable.
make someone better at interacting with, like, the general population. Like, those things you can't really, you can teach them to a degree, but you do want them to kind of possess some of those things straight off the bat.
Yeah.
And then, because you can teach them, like, okay, here, this is our method. Like, this is how we do things. Like, we're the same with coaches. It's like, if we were to bring another STC Fit coach on, it's not just, they can't just be, like, jacked and smart.
Yeah.
It's like they need to be able to work with the person.
Yeah.
You know, and you can teach them, like, how to do the sets and reps and stuff, more so than are you going to walk into a room and people are going to like you?
Yeah.
Like, it's the easiest way to describe it. It's like, you want that person, even if they're not as great at the job, as long as they have a desire to be great at the job.
Yeah.
And then you can train them to be the best.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Yeah. Definitely.
They're just hard to find.
Yeah.
They are gems. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've even found, like, for us at least, like, we try and hire as new as possible. So, like, the people were coming back or returning, it's whatever. It's like, oh, you'll solve all the problems that I had last time. And that's usually for us, like, a big red flag of, like, but why didn't you make it last time? What happened? Yeah.
Just clean slate.
Fresh.
Do it this way.
Yeah.
It's like if someone's kind of done a bit of strength training but never done any bodybuilding before, it's like, I'll teach you.
Come with me.
It.
Yeah.
Teach you how to do this the right way.
But yeah, the systems, like you said, the word method, like, and for you, client experience is kind of the same thing. It's like feeling. We actually had one of our coaches, went someone else that we'd worked with, and, like, we didn't actually work with them that much, but no surprise, we get along with them really well and collab a lot. And she messaged me, she's like, hey, have you worked with this gym before? I'm like, oh, a little bit. And she's like, man, I felt like I was in STC and felt like the same pathway. And I was like, that's for someone to know even what that is. That, like, every channel I've ever been down with STC, and they've used a lot of our products, to go, the experience was, I felt like I was there over here. Like, that's cool to have that trend all the way through. So for you, if you've got someone that usually sees you that jumps in with someone else because you're on holidays or whatever, like, at least the feeling's the same all the way through, even if the personality is different or exactly how they treat's a little bit different, it still feels the same method.
Yeah.
That's a big challenge too, as, like, a therapist clinic in allied health, and most, even sometimes personal training as well, is like, the person becomes the brand. So then, you got 3 rooms here. So there's 3 people. At some point, you're probably going to, look for world domination, and you're not going to be as actively inside your business. And some of the problems can be if you don't have a method and a system and, a sequence of bringing people up and doing things your way, then everyone just wants to see you.
Yeah.
And then you can't. You can't because of time, but at some point you've got to give to what everyone else is doing, what's going on in these 2 offices as well, in terms of quality, service, feedback, all of those things, and that requires time. So you don't want to just be the face of your business. You don't want it just to be Laura or Ben or Jason. Like, people don't just come for that; they come because they come to Fox to get results. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's been a big thing learning over the years as well, having a business. So it's like, as we said, like, the client books got full quite quickly, but then it's like, I want to build the business. So it's like you actually have to take a step back from, like, being in the business to work on it. And it's like, that's both with, like, working out plans on how to expand, but then that's also when you bring staff on, like, you need to, like, take a little, like, make sure you've got enough time to provide that person support, to make sure they've got what they need to move forward. Like, so I think trying to find that balance as a business owner of being in the business and out of it.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I think you need to take enough time out that you can help with, like, your staff and all those things. Obviously as well, like, I think outsourcing becomes quite valuable too. So it's like, unless it's something you enjoy doing, if someone else can do it just as good or if not better, then, like, why don't you get them to do it? Save you time, then you can be in your craft more. But yeah, I think it's also making sure you're not just constantly, like, seeing clients, that you forget to, like, look at how the business is progressing and what the next step for the business is.
Yeah, which we've all done.
Yeah.
Just blinkers on. Just
400 sessions.
I'll treat as many people as I can.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the hardest part for you?
Yeah, and I think it still is. Because obviously as well, like, if you see a client and, like I said, you want to see him in the week, but you're fully booked, like at periods I'll be more strict with my diary, like, especially if I'm doing, like, a prep for a powerlifting comp, something like that. But it's like, if not, I'm like, just working it out, like, a bit later that night. An hour turns into 2 hours.
The lights on more.
Yeah. And then that just slowly builds. But then you'll find over a few weeks, you're like, okay, I'm getting burnt out, need to drop this back. So you'll drop it right back, and then it slowly happens again. So yeah, people, sometimes they're like, why do you work so much? Like, is it a money thing? And I'm like, no, I actually really like helping my clients. And it's
Absolutely.
like, if I know someone will get a better result from seeing them next week, like, I'll just kind of put them in.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
So
especially because there's probably a
yeah.
time period at the start when, like you said, it's like see them immediately. Like, that initial period is like, you want to get them the result, right?
Yeah.
So you want to see them frequently. If you're fucking busy and you can't, it's like, but you want to help them. It's like, well, what's the solution?
Yeah.
It's like, having the lights on and the door open more makes more sense, right? But then it's like, the pitfall is, where do you draw the line?
Yeah. And I think as well, over the years, I have learnt as well my limit with, like, how many people I can see in a day before my quality drops. So I feel like that's very important as well, because it's obviously you want the people coming through the door to have the best experience, and you want them, if they're coming in like 7 o'clock at night, to be just as good as the person who's coming in 9 a.m. So I feel like if that quality drops, you're definitely seeing too many people. But then obviously as well, it's like you have a life outside of here. So it's like, is it starting to affect things outside of work? And then it's probably too much as well. So I think, I feel like we all, like, definitely push the envelope a lot with how much we work. But then it's, I guess, just taking it back at different steps, or knowing when to pull it back and what for. So am I pulling it back so I can help my staff? Am I pulling it back to work on growing the business, or just so I can, like, have a bit more of a personal life for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. Which are all very, very well warranted.
Yeah.